Last word.
I was recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you. I followed that statement pretty closely, and with that logic, you would love Edward Snowden and be totally enthralled with Chelsea Manning, because while they violated their oaths and revealed information, that information was important to Americans to know what information was being taken from them by security, and accordingly, the gentleman who previously spoke should have been for Chelsea Manning's not only her commutation, but a pardon and maybe a Congressional Medal of Honor, and one for Snowden too. But the fact is they violated the law in putting that information out, and that is sacrosanct. And you can't say that, regardless of what your opinion is about the information that was put out, that it was stolen. It was illegal and it was stolen. And since that has happened, Mr. Chairman, the President has launched and continually launched an attack on the intelligence community and the press, because that's the two power groups that he doesn't have control over. When Hillary Clinton brought up the fact that 17 different intelligence agencies, including the FBI, and the NDI, and all the others, CIA, had said that the Russians were hacking and trying to influence this election, his answer was, our country has no idea. Why would he say our country has no idea? Because he thought they had no idea, and he thought he was going to get away scot-free. He knew what the Russians were doing when he said, Russia, are you listening? Can you get her 30,000 emails? Russia, are you listening? Now we know there were communications. I look at Peter Rodino's portrait, Mr. Chairman, and he presided over this committee during Watergate. And that was a time when we came together to rid ourselves of a president who violated the law. He himself was involved in the break-in. Mr. Rodino did his duty, and Democrats and Republicans both did it. Howard Baker was a star with Fred Thompson as his aide in the Senate, asking the questions that our chairman should ask. What did Mr. Trump know, and when did he know it? And we need to find out what he knew and when he knew it about his security advisor, about contacts with Russia during the campaign, about what Mr. Pence knew. And all of this is within the purview of the Judiciary Committee, and the most important information this committee could elicit for the benefit of the American people. Ronald Reagan said Russia was the evil empire. It was, and it is, and it's worse. Just this week, the primary opponent to Mr. Putin was conveniently found guilty of a felony in Russia, wherefore he is no longer eligible to run for office. The same thing happened a few years back to Mr. Putin's other closest adversary. And then his next closest adversary was murdered within purview of the Kremlin, within view of the Kremlin. We're talking about Russia and Putin, which is about as opposite from America as you can get. Not encouraging freedom of the press, freedom of speech, or democracy. And not being a friend of America whatsoever. And as we speak, they are involved with continuing to help their allies in eastern Ukraine attack, and they have airplanes buzzing our ships in the seas right near the Russian borders and denying that it occurred, and they have spy boats off our coast. And what is our president doing? Tweeting from Mar-a-Lago and raising the dues to come and watch him and his friends vacation at their $200,000 admission fee winter White House. Every tweet he makes about where he's at, it's about at Mar-a-Lago, just advertising. It is corrupt, embarrassing, and obscene what he's done to the White House and what he's done to our government in selling it. And this committee needs to investigate thoroughly